Have you played through the chords of a song and thought, why doesn't it sound right? But the problem isn't the chord shapes, it's how you play them. I've helped thousands of students level up their chord skills with a few simple exercises. So in this video, I'll use Autumn Leaves to show you 5 progressive exercises so that you can nail the groove and make the chords really come alive. Let's start with the foundation, simple jazz chords that you can actually use before we add color, extensions and walking bass to Autumn Leaves. As Joe Pass says,
so when you learn a song, you must learn the song really simple.
So we're starting with the simplest, most essential chords, 3-note shell voicings, because they cover the basic sound of the chord and they're very easy to play. A shell voicing consists of the root, the 3rd and the 7th. And the 2 sets to start with that we need will be these. Here you have 2 sets of voicings for a very common progression in jazz called a 2-5-1, and you can use that to play thousands of songs. So now you have a 2-5-1 in the key of B flat and a 2-5-1 in the key of F major. Now we'll use these shapes to play through the first bars of Autumn Leaves in the simplest possible way. Now there are 2 chords in there that I'll explain after this example. Let me quickly show you what's going on here. You probably recognize the first 3 chords as that 2-5-1 in B flat major, which is followed by an E flat major 7. And here I'm using the same voicing as I used for the F major 7 chord just a second ago. Now the next chord, A half diminished or A minor 7 flat 5, is really easy to play because since there's no 5th in a shell voicing, then it's just an A minor. And the D7 is of course similar to the F7. And finally the G minor 6, which is really just like a G minor 7, but you switch the F with an E. See if you can use these shapes to play other songs as well. Once you get these under your fingers, you'll realize that you can actually play most jazz songs like this. But jazz isn't just about the chords, you need rhythm too. That's where the real magic happens. Let's start with one of the most iconic rhythms. One of the most important rhythms to have in your vocabulary is also pretty easy to play, the Charleston rhythm. It only has 2 notes, one on beat 1 and then one on the 2 and. And to get used to it, you can just take a single chord, like a C minor 7, and then play it there until it feels easy. And if you do that, you will quickly be able to take it through the song like this. Before we start to add more notes to the chords, you have another option to get even more out of these basic shell voicings. They have a built-in split between the root note and the chord, which later will help you add complete walking bass lines. But let's start simple. Here's the cool trick: when you split the shell voicing into 2 parts, so bass and chord, then it's almost as if you have 2 separate instruments in your hands. So here's how that works for the first chord, C minor 7. You have the bass note and then the chord. It's a little bit like being your own rhythm section, and now you can use this to create much more interesting comping. Why do this? Now because it gives your playing more groove and keeps things moving, especially in a medium tempo like Autumn Leaves. Check out how great this sounds. Another way to use the split is to borrow a groove from another style, Bossanova, and Autumn Leaves sounds great played like this as well. Take a listen. This is a great groove to add to your toolkit, the Bossanova. First, check out this classic 1-bar pattern on a single chord, just to get used to how it is to play it and how it sounds. To make things more interesting and a bit more challenging, I'm also adding a note to each voicing for a little bit more color. So for the C minor 7, I'm adding a 5th. The F7 gets a 9th. And then on the B flat major 7, I add a 5th. That actually becomes the 9th on the E flat major 7. And the A half diminished gets that flat 5, so the E flat in there. So now there's a complete chord, and that becomes the flat 9 on the D7. Which is a really great sound, even if it has a little bit of dissonance, and it helps us get to that G minor 6, which now also has a 5th on top. As you can tell, this works really well for the song. Now, just like the other exercises in this video, this is just a very basic example. There's a lot more you can do with chord extensions and samba rhythms, but let's go back to swing, and then I'm going to show you a great way to play a groove using shell voicings, another Joe Pass favorite. Now for the ultimate jazz duo trick, laying down the groove with a walking bass while playing chords on top. This is the sound that Joe Pass is famous for, and it is magic when you're backing up a singer or a horn player in a duo setting. Shell voicings are great for this because you're only playing 3 notes, and that makes it a lot easier to add the moving bass line under the chords. That could sound something like this. Shell voicings aren't just for comping, they are a shortcut for learning to play chord solos and chord melodies as well. And Joe Pass used this technique all the time. It's a huge part of his signature sound. Now, if you want to dig deeper into Joe Pass comping and chord solo techniques, then check out this video where I break down exactly how he does it, using one of his chord solos as an example. Check it out, learn jazz, make music.